Good morning, everybody. I made a little sign, then nobody feels left out. Today, I thought we would do something with these scraps. This is the bit of Mokume-Gane we made in part 1. I'll leave a little thingy up here for you. And this is the 50-50 and the translucent that was left over. And as you know, I don't like waste. I don't like this sitting in a cupboard for months. So I just thought we'd do a bit of something today to use the scraps up. This was the first slice that I took off. And obviously that's the back piece. So what I'm going to do is just put them together that way. I've already been warming this up by sitting on it, so it's quite pliable, and I'm just going to pop this through the pasta machine and get it to my #1 setting, the same as the translucent. Okay guys, this is now on #1. 0, sorry, 0 and 0. I've got 2 cutters, and we need enough scraps because we're going to need a couple of circles out of the translucent, and then we're going to make a couple of beads out of this, and we're going to put a piece of this in the bottom of our pieces. So I'm going to cut a slice of this and pop it in this, if that makes sense, hopefully. Just get my blades. Just make sure everything's nice and clean while you're working with this light colour clay, because I'll not swear, but I'm hopeless with fingerprints. Right, so I'm going to need enough for my backing, so I'll just cut that piece off, and that's for the backing of our pendant. And then this is going to be the front part of our pendant, so I need enough to run through this. So I'll just, let's move this bit out the way. Just going to cut a nice straight line through there, and then take this and cut myself a nice, I'm going to do a nice wide stripe. I'm going to pop this up against this piece. Make sure it's nice and firm up against it. And then pop this piece back on. Again, doing my best to make sure it's nice and firm up against it. Like so. I'll just get a scrap of paper, give this a burnish. 1, to make sure it's joined, and 2, to make sure I've got a nice finish on the top of this clay. Just give it a bit more. go. Right. I'm going to get this, pick this piece up the best I can. And pop it over there. Make sure there's no air bubbles. We're making this pendant quite thick because we're going to put drill some holes in the side. All will become apparent shortly. Just making sure that I've got no bubbles trapped. In fact, I'll just give it a little roll. Clean my roller. Just starting from the middle and working out, just to make sure I've got no bubbles trapped behind. And I'll just picked a bit of fluff up, so I'll just give the surface a little wipe. Make sure there's no gunk on it. There we go. And now I need my cling film, wherever I've put it. I always put, oh, there it is. I'm going to use a bit of film. I'm using this black film, just so I can get a nice dome on it. I'll just give it a wipe, make sure it's not yucky. This is just the packaging film that you get on some things. And I'm just going to pop this over, make sure I know where my stripe is. Take my cutter. And press. And then we're going to take our circle cut, our smaller circle cutter, and cut a crescent out of the top. I just want to make sure that, yeah, just making sure that it's in line with my stripe. And then we're going to cut that out as well. Let's pick these bits up. Just pop them to one side. So we're going to end up with this shape. I'm just going to make sure there's no wrinkles from the plastic or the cutter. Just give it a nice smooth. Make sure I've got a lovely surface, because as I keep saying, if you start off with a nice surface before it goes in the oven, the less work you have to do when it comes back out the oven. I'll just pick this up. Get rid of those burrs off the edge. And you sometimes get a little bit of wrinkling when you're using the cling film or glad wrap or whatever you call it in your place. But if you just smooth with your finger, generally you can get those wrinkles out. I'm just gonna pop it on a piece of paper, get the shape back. And you use another piece of paper just to make sure I've got no fingerprints on. And that it's all lovely and smooth. I'll just get a wet wipe. You can see a little mark there. There we go. So that's the basis for our pendant. I'm actually just going to nip the ends of them points off in line with my line. I just think it'll look a bit neater. And I'll just smooth them over so that they're not sharp. So there we go, that's the basis of our pendant. I'll just pop that to one side. Now we're going to make a oh, brain's not working again. Lentil bead, yay, I remembered. And we need it to sit inside our pendant. So I'm going to take one of my other cutters and just make sure that I've got the same sort of size bead. So I'll just do this. So I've got that much with that. Oh, that's double, isn't it? So I'll take that bit away. Ignore me. And that bit with that. And I'm just going to roll these into balls. And I think I'm going to need it a bit bigger, so I'm going to add a bit more and a bit more. Because I want my lentil bead to sit nicely in this gap. So I'm just thinking, oh, if that's my bead and it's flattened, that should be enough clay. So I'll just roll this into a nice ball again. And I'll just roll this into a nice ball. A little bit more. If you've only got bits of scraps, you could obviously use and wrap your bead in your scraps, but I've got quite a bit left, so there we go. Got my two balls and I'm going to cut them in half. Join the halves together like so. Make sure they're nice and joined. I'll pop these bits to one side for later. So I've got my two halves. I'll just clean this mess up a little bit. And I've got some space. Give my desk a wipe. A bit of fluff off. So now I'm just going to make a lentil bead. I've got this little, I think it's used for stamping, but it's great for making lentil beads. So I'm just going to, oops, won't swirl because it's damp. Start again. Make sure it's dry. And I'm just going to do my lentil bead. And just keep going in the same direction until I start to see everything swirling. I'm not going to cut this bit out because it's kind of fun, isn't it, making lentil beads. Let's move it over a bit. Oh. I can see my swirling is just starting now. So I'll just keep at it until I've got a nice swirl. Flatten it out a bit. Oh, keep going off. Flatten it out a bit. Oh, now I've gone oval. I'll just get my shape back. I'm not the best at making beads, you've probably noticed. Trying to get the round back. There we go. And I'm just going to flatten it out. And there's my bead. Pretty subtle at the minute because of the colours we've used. I'll tip it to the light, you might be able to see. So that bead is going to sit in our pendant. So I'll pop these in the oven and then we'll come back and do the wire work to finish the pendant. Hey guys, I was just looking through my stash thinking, you know, I have got quite a bit of scrap left. I wonder what I could, you know, make something decent out of it, instead of just making a load of beads. And then I remembered I've got these bracelet forms and I don't know if you can see it, and this template. If you're in the UK, they're from Opaline Cernit UK. Just Google that and you'll find their shop, and I believe Tiny Pandora has something very similar if you're in the States. So I thought I'd use this and make a little matching bracelet for the necklace. So yeah, I'm just going to do this while the other thing's in the oven. And then I do know that this is a little bit longer than I need, so I'm not worried if it doesn't quite. I'll just use my craft knife, I think. Might be a bit easier. Just make sure it's clean. Yeah, you could even do this round a tin can or a glass jar, or you know, a drinking glass. And if you're worried that it won't stand up to the oven, just actually pop it in the oven for a bit with when you're baking something, and if it, you know, if it doesn't break, then you know it's going to be okay for using for a form. So yeah, it's a good scrap buster. I just joined I cut this piece in half because it was quite wide, and I've just put a join there and smoothed it down, so you'll never know once it's baked. And now I've got a lovely bracelet. Let's just get rid of these bits. And I'll pop this bit on top of this bit as neat as I can. Da, da, da. And I'll just give it a little roll, make sure there's no bubbles. And there we go. These are so easy, aren't they, when you've got these forms? But like I say, you could do anything. You know, you could use anything. You could even use a cookie cutter, couldn't you? As long as it's one you can get your hand through, and make a bangle. I'm just going to smooth it round, then I know it's stuck. Indent my ends. Use my craft knife to trim that excess off. I'm just going to go around and soften this edge off, like so. I'm just gently pushing the pale green over the white translucent. Teasing it gently over just to get that nice rolled edge on it. Work my way around. You could do this with anything, couldn't you? Like you ladies who make the lovely Natasha beads and things with your scraps. You know, you could make a whole line of matching jewellery, a bracelet, earrings, pendant, just, you know, using an accent colour, and some of your Natasha beads. That'd be nice. And now that's all pushed over, I'm just going to go around with my craft knife again, keeping it flat to the form this time. Trim that excess off. And now I'm going to go around on an angle and just take this excess off. I do it in 2 parts, and then it just keeps it cleaner for me. It doesn't, you know, like there I've just caught it and it's started to pull away from the form. So just take your time. I'll get that edge smoothed in a minute. Let's get a nice curve on that edge. Get that excess off and then go back around with my knife. I'm doing the forget to talk a bit again because I'm concentrating, aren't I? There we go. Let's get these bits out the way. And I'm just going to get my little roller and just, I'm just going to wet it a bit on my doodah and just smooth these edges best I can. I'll just go off with my finger first. It seems to be easier because the clay is quite warm now, so it's smoothing really nicely. Work on these edges, say the more you do before it goes in the oven, the less you have to do when it finally comes out the oven. Get that nice and smooth. Turn it over. Do the same on this edge. There's no bits. Get those edges nice. Get those edges nice and smooth. There we go. No bits stuck, I don't think. I'll just get a little piece of paper now and just give it a burnish. If I can get it to wrap around, that is. I'm just gonna make sure there's no bits stuck to my desk. And just give it a little roll. Just to make sure I've not got any funny lumps and bumps. them smoothed out best I can. There we go. Bit of fluff. There. I shall pop that in the oven. Nice little bracelet. And we haven't got much left in the way of scraps now. Just separate these pieces if I can. We've done quite well out of that lump of, I'll just bring all the scraps together then you can see, out of that lump of Mokume-Gane and that lump of translucent mixed with white, we've not got much scrap left at all. Those bits, some bits of white. So yeah, I think I'll make a few beads. Yeah, I think I'll make a few beads. I might put this bit on fast forward so you can just watch me making them, but I'll make a few beads, some big ones and some little ones, and maybe we could string them up and make a little necklace. And I'm going to try and use every little scrap that we've got left, because then there's no waste. Right, I'll make a couple of beads and I'll speed this bit up, then you can just watch me making them, or go, you know, zip past it if you wish. Okay guys, I'll stop it there. I'll turn these into lentil beads and then I'll pop back in a bit when everything's baked. Okie dokie. Hi guys. Right, you may have noticed that I've changed the bead. I did leave a little message across the top of the screen. That other bead was so big. When it baked, it just looked really silly. So I just made a little circle bead. Thought that might work better, but we'll see now. So I've already drilled, oh, I'm rolling away. I've already drilled my hole in each end of my pendant, and I've put a hole in my bead just with my pin drill. And I've already put a loop in the end of my memory wire, so nothing will slide off. And we'll just feed this through. It's a bit hard, this bit, because the wire's curvy. Doesn't like to go through. Go on. Oh, it won't go through. My hands are too slippy. Just give it a wiggle. I can see it right there. It just doesn't want to play. Got it. Oh, that's better. Much better than that big pendant. Just pull this round. So there we go. I'll finish this wire off later. I'll just snip it, curl the other end, and I'll probably just put a little lobster clasp on. But there's a nice little pendant. And I'll just show you what else I made with the scraps. I made these lentil beads, and I can make a nice string these up with some accent beads, and that'll make a nice necklace. I've got a couple of spare beads for doing other things with. I've obviously got my bangle, which is really nice. Quite slim when you use those forms. And then with all the little bits that were left, I chopped them all up together, the white, the translucent and the Mokume-Gane, and I just chopped them up and then turned them into little cabochons. So I've got a couple that sort of shape, and then I made an oval one and two little oval ones, so they could be a necklace and earrings. And I'll probably wire wrap these ones and make little pendants with them. So yeah, of all those scraps, I've had quite a playful afternoon. Got all these bits out of those scraps, and that's all that's left, that last little bit. So yeah, scrap busting. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm hoping to get another video posted tomorrow, a proper tutorial, not just a scrap busty one. And I'll see you then. Bye guys, take care.